Hello and welcome to the Health Habit Podcast. I am Maria, your host, a nature-loving herbalist and science-obsessed nutrition therapy practitioner. And inside this podcast, we simplify holistic wellness into daily food-first practices that help us bring more fulfillment and ease into our lives and diets while also supporting long-term well-being. So if you're looking to build consistency in a simple and fulfilling way, you are in the right place, my friend. Today, I'm explaining exactly how you can eat healthier without feeling restricted, overwhelmed, and quite frankly, obsessed. Because when you start trying to build more health foods, more health practices into your life, it is so easy to fall down the slope of over-fixation. So today, I'm giving you a roadmap for how to make nutrition and meal planning simple. When I was 13, I watched my grandfather be completely taken off of insulin because of nutrition changes. He went to a holistic nutrition clinic and came back a brand new man. So very early into my life, I realized that there was an absolute power to food if you knew how to use food and nutrition well. Fast forward to when I was getting my undergraduate degree in nutrition and dietetics, I was learning all of these technical aspects to nutrition, and it was fascinating, but I was not learning how to cause the kind of transformation that I had seen in my grandfather all of those years ago. So I took it upon myself to find the knowledge, information, the approaches and practices that I was missing. And that was helpful to a degree, but eventually I realized that the missing puzzle piece, the reason why my knowledge wasn't creating transformation, had nothing to do with getting more trainings or more information. The missing puzzle piece was application and integration. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't know how to translate, how to alchemize that information into practices, into daily life, then you are never going to have the transformation that you're looking for. The transformation that my grandfather experienced, the transformation that I know help capable, intelligent women experience in their lives. And it all boils down to creating sacred rhythms, repeatable systems, daily practices. My wish for you is to create those rhythms and systems and practices that you want to return to time and time again. To get yourself out of that loop of information collection and start actually applying it to your life in a deeper, more embodied way. If you want to discover where flow meets structure in your unique life, I created Wellness Consistency Coaching exactly for you. So stop delaying that step into your full potential and go to thehealthhabit.net/holistic-wellness-coaching or hit the link in the show notes. And let's translate all of your knowledge into systems. And speaking of systems, one of the major problems that I see women facing when it comes to eating healthy on the regular is that they are making a massive meal planning mistake. When I say the word meal planning, I'll bet you're picturing scrolling through recipe videos on Instagram or TikTok, scrolling through Pinterest, or flipping through pages of a cookbook, and then spending 1 or 2 hours pre-prepping meals that you put in Tupperwares and store in the fridge. That is only one way of meal planning. And for some people, that can be a very good system. But the major mistake that people are making is that they're expecting themselves to not only make the meals every week, but to spend time finding different recipes every week. So to do the entire process on a weekly basis, where we are researching recipes, deciding which recipes, making the grocery list, going grocery shopping, and then finally meal prepping. That is way too much for most people's schedules. Real life is so much busier and so much messier than that. So what the health habit does instead, the way that is way more effective, is to sit down and to create your meal system once. Maybe twice if you want a lot more variety, which some of my clients really do crave that variety. And then once you have a system that feels realistic for your unique life, you automate it. That is where healthy eating actually becomes repeatable. It is now a system. It can now actually start to be more fun because it's not demanding all this mental energy and this time. It's just, we have the system, we look at it, and then we do it. It's so obvious, right? Like the number one meal planning mistake is simply that we're expecting ourselves to spend more time doing this meal planning process than we actually have in our schedules most weeks. So we stop making meal planning into this big weekly time-intensive task, and instead you just have one system that you can default to. And of course, you can adapt it, make it flexible. Those days when you do have more time or more energy, research recipes, try new things, and just keep adding on to your system. But you don't need to spend all of that time doing the whole process every single week. The easier that we can make something, the more likely we are to stick to it. That is especially true when it comes to food. And if you're here listening to the podcast, then I am sure by now you realize that healthy eating is truly the secret sauce to long-term well-being. Which is why within Wellness Consistency Coaching, the very first thing I do with people is create this meal automation or meal planning system. It is so foundational to any wellness plan. So this week, sit down and see if you can create a meal planning system that truly feels realistic for your life. And if you don't even know where to start, don't worry. Like I said, that's the very first thing we do in Wellness Consistency Coaching. So book yourself a call and let's do it together. Even if it doesn't go past that, let's get you a system for healthy eating that you can actually replicate long term. That is the number one step if you want to truly create lasting well-being. And then I'll leave you with one final tidbit, kind of the icing on the cake when it comes to making healthy eating super duper easy. Instead of stressing out about what you're going to eat, what's healthy, when you're at the grocery store, just look at the label. It doesn't have to take long. Just look at the label and look at the length of the label. A general rule, if you're like, I'm on the go, I don't want to think about it, I don't want to get overwhelmed, just pick the label that has a shorter list of ingredients. Such a hack. It can be that simple. It doesn't have to be super complicated. We can make it complicated. I can teach you all the ins and outs of all the technicalities of nutrition, but it's not going to help you to achieve your goals. Make it simple. And for my super nerdy listeners, I have an episode 19 with a food scientist where we actually talk about more of the specific additives and weird ingredients that you'll see on labels. So if you're interested, go listen to episode 19. And again, if you are ready to finally fast track your wellness and to just sit down and just make it so darn intentional and so darn systemized that you can just repeat it for the rest of your life, head to thehealthhabit.net, click on Wellness Consistency Coaching tab, and let's create just a simple meal system for you. I hope that this is kind of boggled your mind in almost a frustrating way because it's a simple mistake, but it's a big mistake and people make it on repeat. It's one of the things that I hear women talk about the most. I just can't meal plan. I just don't have time. I'm just not able to stay consistent with it. Here's your solution. I love you guys. If you have enjoyed this episode and you want to take it even further, make sure you are signed up for my email newsletter. I send it every Wednesday morning, so you have time to just really internalize everything that you've learned in the podcast episode and then reinforce it and take it potentially 1 or 2 steps even deeper. And I will see you all next week. Bye!